I've only just done a foundation roundup. You're probably bored of foundation roundups, but by the time that foundation roundup went live, I hadn't received my Natasha Denona Hy-Glam foundation. So, in order that you all don't have to wait, because I have had so many comments in the comment section of that video asking me to review the Natasha Denona Hy-Glam foundation, I thought I would do a standalone review, and those of you that want to see it can watch it, and those of you that don't, well, you don't have to. So we're all here for this today. You want my completely authentic, honest thoughts on this, and I have several thoughts on this, so let's get on with it. Let's get straight into the weeds. This is the Natasha Denona Hy-Glam foundation. It costs £49 in the UK. You get 30 mils or 1 fluid ounce, and it comes in 52 different shades. This comes in a frosted glass bottle with a pump. It's a medium fluid consistency, and it's going to give medium buildable coverage with a radiant finish. This does contain alcohol, but it's fragrance and essential oil free. Now the shades are a little bit difficult to select, even with the shade finder that is on the website. I've gone for the shade N3. I also went for the shade N4, which is way too deep for me. N3 I can totally get away with. I'd probably be able to get away with N2 as well. So if you are my shade twin, those are the two shades that I would pick between. My skin really likes it. It applies smoothly. There's lots of workability within here, so it doesn't dry down too quickly. There's a lot of time where you can blend this out, smooth it out before it sets, so it can be applied with a brush or with a sponge or with your fingertips if that's your application method of choice. This is a self-setting formula, so there's no need to use powder if you don't want to. It's going to give creaseless coverage and no settling in fine lines or pores. This is incredibly lightweight on the skin. It's a skincare foundation hybrid that's going to even your skin tone, balance excess oils, and reduce visible signs of aging. I never use a foundation as skincare. I still use my skincare prior to this because I always think with foundations how much of this is actually going to sink into the skin to the depths that this skincare needs to get to in order to work. Now, like I said, this gives a radiant finish, but it also gives a blurring finish as well. So if you have pores, if you have texture, this is going to blur those out. Not completely. This is not a matte formula. It's not completely airbrushing, but that level of radiance teamed with that blurring effect really does help to disguise texture and large pores. The coverage is excellent, and it has just the right amount of glow. This isn't too much glow that you're going to look sweaty and oily, but it's not too little glow that you're going to look flat. I always think that foundations with a little too much glow can make the foundation look a little bit mask-like, look a little bit unnatural. This is not one of those foundations, although I would recommend that you build this up too much, because the more you build it up, the more like foundation it looks. Medium coverage is where I think this foundation sits best. It looks very skin-like, blurring, a little airbrushing, and just beautiful on the skin. There is a little bit of tackiness if you don't powder this in place. That tackiness doesn't last for a long time. Once this foundation has thoroughly dried down, that tackiness does disappear. But I do prefer to powder this in place to not only make this foundation last a little bit longer, but also dim that radiance just a little bit. I do have an oily T-zone. I think this is important to make this foundation look nicer for longer. This definitely isn't completely weightless on my skin. I can feel it there, but it's very, very lightweight. So much more lightweight than some other very similar foundations have sat on my skin in the past. The wear time is where this foundation excels. If you like the look of this foundation on first application, I don't think you are going to be disappointed with the wear time, because this foundation looks true to first application pretty much all the way through the day. I wore this for 10 hours, and it was only after around about 7 or 8 hours that my natural oils did start to come through the foundation and make it look a little shiny. After 10 hours, the foundation still looked passable on my skin. In fact, not only passable, it looked beautiful. Still very flattering on my skin. It didn't look cakey, it hadn't gone patchy, it didn't break down in any areas, including my oily T-zone and my chin area. It was just looking the way that it had, just a tiny bit shinier in those oilier areas. Unlike other foundations of this caliber, those foundations that are slightly more radiant rather than matte, my pores and my texture didn't look more accentuated the more the day progressed, and that is really rare for a foundation of this ilk. All in all, I am extremely impressed by this foundation. I really like it. I really, really like it. I can't actually pinpoint anything that I don't like at the moment, which is rare for me on foundation tests, because usually there's at least something that I can pick on, but today, not so much. I mean, I loved how this foundation looked on first application. I loved how it looked after 5 hours. I think it looked superb after 10 hours. Passable, completely passable, really beautiful, still very flattering on my skin, and I hadn't used a setting spray because I never do on foundation wear test days. I just think it's unfair to use a setting spray, so I have worn a setting spray with this since filming this wear test, and it wears even longer. So well done, Natasha Denona. You waited a really long time to bring this out. And I dread to think how many foundations you came up with and passed on before you settled on this formula. So many other brands would have released a foundation immediately after the initial success of the hy-glam concealer. Natasha Denona did not do that. She wanted to get it right, and I applaud her for that. I mean, well done. I would love to hear what you think about this formula. Do you love it? Do you really not get on with it? If you've tried this already, please let everybody know your experiences in the comment section. Please also add a little bit more detail. What is your skin type? What do you pair this with? Do you powder it? Do you use a setting spray, etc.? Just as much information as possible will really help everybody out. It is not only my opinion that matters on this channel, all of you matter as well, so please let everybody know what you think, and it will make everybody's decision on whether to try this out or leave it alone a lot easier. So thank you in advance for doing that. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you feel like somebody else that you know may find this video just as helpful as you, please give it a share. Also, please don't forget to like and subscribe before you leave. Hope to see you all in the next video. Bye everyone.